Welcome back to part two of unpacking my spiritual crisis that I've been kind of going through the last few days. And it's been 24 hours since I recorded the last video, and I've really been sitting with why is there so much spiritual psychosis? And Neptune and Pisces has really helped me frame this. So I'm just going to dive in, okay? First off, I think we have not decolonized spirituality, specifically as white people. First off, I want us to think about what's going on in the collective right now. It's not just spiritual psychosis. There is delusion happening everywhere. If you want to think about the red hats, the MAGAs, they literally believe in this president who is quote unquote acting like a king who is actively hurting most of the MAGA members, right? So there's this delusion that he's a savior when he's actively abusing them. So we have this camp of delusion. Then we have the camp of psychosis spiritually. And my husband was talking about this last night, and he goes, and it was like light bulb. He was like, white people are waking up to the injustices. For so long, the system has worked in our benefit that we could stay ignorant to what was really happening, turn a blind eye, ignore, just not fully understand. But that's not an option anymore. It's impacting everyone. And what is happening is white people, specifically white women, want to fix, want to heal, want to change. They feel it. They don't like it. They're also understand oppression. And we're out seeking. We're out seeking people to save, like aliens. Is aliens real? Probably statistically, with all the whistleblowers and all the documentaries. Like, I'm not discrediting aliens. But the way that we're sharing about aliens, it is the exact same archetypal story as the Bible. And what does that message say? Stop being dicks, wake up to your own shit, and love each other. Whether it's aliens coming down and helping us all love each other and overtake the government, whether it's us as people just waking up and coming together and overtaking the government, we are changing down here on earth. It's not just America. You see it all over the world. The world is shifting, and that is the most spiritual thing, the here and the now. That is why politics is spiritual. But what's happening is they have hijacked spirituality, to my last video, to make us believe this delusion that people are coming to save, or that we can live up here and we can live on other worlds and planets and avoid what's happening down here. Do I think there is a spiritual video game-esque solution to what's happening? Yeah, I do. I do think that there's something so much deeper that I don't think we know. But we don't know. But what we do know is the corruption happening. So let me loop back to decolonization. When America was founded, the founding fathers did not know that it was going to become a melting pot for so many different cultures. It's evolved. And the Declaration of Independence was created for rich people. It was created for rich people, unknowingly what this country was going to be created from. Now we've evolved, we've outgrown. Of course, we always have. It was based on genocide of natives, and it was based on slavery of people. That is the roots. We have to look at what was the energy, what was the birth chart of this country. That's what it was founded on. We have to collapse that foundation because it does not work, and we have to rebirth what is happening. But the problem is, when the founding fathers created this, they created whiteness, and they wanted other white people to make sure that they didn't overcome, like, basically, from my understanding, right, there were a lot of other natives and things around, and they needed enough numbers, and so they created whiteness. Whiteness is not a thing. We're all European. But we've been disconnected from our culture to become white, because there was this superior complex of, oh, but you're white. You're allowed to have land. You're white. There was this power dynamic that got all the white people together, that created the systems that we are in now. And that white culture has been infiltrated for generation after generation after generation. The patriarchy is the over umbrella. White supremacy, white people being in power. Okay? So from the very beginning, that's happened. So then, through all of this, as we've outgrown, white people are not in power anymore. It's outnumbered, the white culture. but they're wanting to hold on to the power, and they're gripping, and they're doing everything in their possible. They're hijacking spirituality, they're hijacking Christianity, not hijacking, whatever. It's like the pipeline, the right pipeline for people to stay and not decolonize. There's grief. There is ancestral trauma that white people have engaged in. My ancestors were slave owners. My ancestors abused people. Every white person has ancestral trauma that we have to reckon with. But what's happening is we're not reckoning with our trauma. We're avoiding and escaping it. White fragility. We feel bad. We can't handle what's happened. And by bypassing and going up to aliens, or bypassing and politics isn't spiritual, I'm love and light. No, we're perpetuating the problem. We have to reckon with what's happening. We have to deconstruct colonization. It doesn't make you a bad person to acknowledge, wow, I have come through a privileged perspective. Wow, that was a privileged statement. Wow, that is not okay. And I'm reinforcing a stereotype that I don't actually value or believe in. But white people have to be the ones, white people. We have to, because we are unconsciously perpetuating cycles that are hurting people of color. The ego makes it so personable. That's what MAGA is. MAGA's like, oh, white, like people are attacking us. White people are attacking white people. I'm a male. No, that's your ego. It's literally your fucking ego. And if you're taking it that way, then you have ego work. Now, the astrology behind this. Pisces rules in the shadow, grief, escapism. The pain is too much. I think white people have literally, it's not the ego, the trauma has created this superior power dynamic, but our souls don't want that. And I think our souls are grappling with that fact and are disconnected from the pain that we've inflicted on other people. So anyways, I'm thinking about how Neptune is going back into Pisces, and we have to deal with the grief, and we have to dissolve and decolonize and truly heal all of this. Uranus is going back into Taurus. Taurus rules over Mother Earth. Taurus rules over the abundance of really the sacredness of really what Earth is, really what indigenous cultures have always shown. So that's my thought of why is there so much spiritual psychosis right now? We're looking for someone to save us. We're escaping the pain. We can see the pain, and we're looking for other answers. We're there, and it's getting pushed to us. And I don't know, guys, this is a really big lesson for me on a personal level. And I'll give you guys an insight. Like I said years ago, you know, my friend, my coworker, someone I went to grad school with, like did seem to be going down spiritual psychosis. And I almost did as well. And I discontinued and I created space. Now I have another person in my life going down that same rabbit hole. And my husband was like, Lauren, like look at the logic, like I said in my last video. And I'm looking at my birth chart. I have Jupiter, my belief systems, in Sagittarius, okay? AKA in human terms, I believe in everything. Everything is true. Everything is true. My Jupiter's at 12 degrees of Pisces. So I have a Jupiter in Sagittarius with a Pisces flare. AKA, everything is true. I'm gullible. But that Jupiter squares Saturn, challenges my own Saturn in Pisces. My Saturn is in Pisces, and it's also at 12 degrees Pisces. Pisces is around illusions and dreams, because you have to dream to be able to manifest things. But the shadow is, again, maybe that's just an illusion. Shit, everything's an illusion on Earth. We're living the human experience as spiritual beings. But part of the human experience is not getting lost in the sauce and being a human and helping humans progress. Government, politics, and realizing the illusion of that, and realizing we have everything we need and we don't need system. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. But so Saturn is in Pisces right now, and my Saturn returned. And again, my Saturn's exactly, Jupiter and Saturn are literally squaring each other. And it is a lesson I'm having to understand of discernment, trusting my intuition, and being realistic of what is real. You know, I need some more rigidity. I need more discernment, but my Chiron is in Virgo. So the discernment is a wound that I'm reckoning with. So what I really realized after recording the video yesterday, when I was in my emotions and I was experiencing a lot, I wanted to know, why is spiritual psychosis on the rise? Why is it white women? What is going on? We haven't deconstructed. We have not decolonized our ancestors, our own ego, white supremacy. And they're doing a really fucking good job on making sure white supremacy can stay in power. But it's our job to see it for what it is, which is some of what I'm realizing as being a mom. Like, these fairy tale books that I'm reading to my child are just reintegrating white supremacy and the patriarchy of men needing to take care of these damsels in distress women, and women are helpless and they need a man. My 11-month-old daughter, I'm reading this book and I'm realizing, what is the subliminal messaging in this, right? It's in everything. It is systemic. When something is systemic, it is in all of the systems so that it can't just collapse. So if you fix one system, well, all the other systems, it's a web. Patriarchy, white supremacy, it is a web everywhere. And that is what we are breaking. And it's going to take time. And that is why it is chaos. And that is why there's so much pain, because it is falling. But the fall of it is painful because it is in every single system. And they've convinced our psyche, they have literally programmed our brain to believe certain things and create these illusions. When I realized the story of aliens and the starseeds, and while again, I think it's real, I think we can reincarnate on other aliens races. We have people channel like that is real. We've had prophecies. Nostradamus prophesies this exact moment. We have the book of Law of One, Ra. We have Bashar. There are real channels. Buddha, Jesus. These are real things. But right now there's an influx of false light, false narratives, which is the shadow of Neptune and Pisces. And I think the falseness of it is really from white supremacy. They're really, they got the claws in that we're not realizing. And they're taking things that are truth and dismantling it, which is ironic that I say that, because that was the whole purpose of the teachings of this person. It's really, really weird. But anyways, yeah, that's what I think about. I think about the arc of the story of aliens are coming and disclosures coming, and we're going to realize there's so much more, and that there's a war up here happening, and we're within that, and we're in the prison earth, and da 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 da. While that might all be true, that's exactly getting mirrored right now on Earth. What's being mirrored up there allegedly is being mirrored down here, and right here is where we are. Right here is our reality. Right here, the present moment. What is in the mirror of the collective? The consciousness war down here. We're fighting down here. Why are we fighting up here? No, we're fighting down here. We got to clock in. We got to clock in. And that starts with decolonizing. And that starts with focusing. And while it's beautiful, and we did have the No Kings protest in America, and it is one of the largest peaceful protests, we need more than just peaceful protests. We need people to recognize the systemic white supremacy in everything that we do. We need people to stop the system. We need to stop corporate America. Democracy is dead. Democracy was an experiment. It did not work. It worked for a while to keep white supremacy and the world working, but we have outgrown it. But where do we go? I don't know, but I honestly believe back to tribal living, back to the indigenous way that has worked forever before we have come, white supremacy, and tried democracy. It doesn't work. Democracy is falling. I think it could work if it wasn't fundamentally built on corruption and on genocide. So I'm sure, I will say it, I'm sure I've said things, I'm sure I even still functioning from the white perspective, because at the end of the day, I am a white female that was raised in an all-white community growing up. So it is so ingrained in me, and I'm happy that I've tried to deconstruct, but even then I'm still not deconstructed. Even then I still say things, my husband's like, no, that's a privileged thing to say or perceive. For you to hold hope like this, it's privilege, and it is, but we also need that at the same time. We need hope, but we need reality. We need logic, and we need spirituality. We need both, which is why I'm married to my husband, because without my husband, I would have lost myself. He is my grounding cord to earth. That Virgo rising, that my Jupiter goes to his sun, right? I do believe him. His Saturn goes to my Jupiter. He restricts me. I love this. I love astrology. It helps put words to why we work together. We both have the same moon. We both have the same needs and the emotional needs and the same desires for home life, right? Like, oh, it's so amazing. So anyways, all to say, we need both. And that's what I'm learning. And so again, this is a conversation. Drop a comment. What didn't I see? What did I see? What are your thoughts? Share, and let's unpack this together, because right now is the time that we need to learn from one another, and we also need to start taking action. We also need to call out white supremacy and decolonization, and where does this show up, and how can we become more conscious beings so we're not perpetuating a cycle? So, yeah, I will be back with more insights as I start having them, but I really wanted to record this because I'm released the video today from yesterday, and I'm going to release this tomorrow because I already sat with 24 hours and I was like, yeah. So as always, thank you for your support. Subscribe, share, and let's talk about things.